Hello, ladies and gentlemen, a very big welcome to you, and I hope you're having a fantastic day today. It's vlog day because I felt like doing a vlog today. Essentially, I haven't had enough coffee to play games. But we're going to talk about we're going to do a couple of things today. We're going to talk about the Stop Killing Games going on because this one I'm actually sitting on the fence on. I mean, really, I shouldn't as a long term gamer, especially somebody that plays classics and retro games. But I'm not going to go into any of the pirate software drama or anything like that because I think that's just blown out of proportion to blow out of proportion. But as somebody that loves games and goes out of their way to play the games that I played when I was young, seeing that I am in my mid 40s now, I've been playing video games now for like 30 years, 33 years, 34 years, give or take. Anyway, as someone that has been playing games that long, I've seen companies rise, I've seen companies fall, I've seen games get to the top peak and then just collapse. So, why I think the Stop Killing Games initiative is a really good initiative. I also think that you need to take a deeper look into why games go offline. Essentially, I think if you have a majority online game or a 100% online game, the developers, when they're killing the game, or not even killing the game, but shutting down the game, could be either due to costs, new projects, things like that. There's going to be a lot of things that will come into it, but essentially it comes down to, is the money coming in for the game enough to keep the game running? Is there enough? Well, I mean, this day and age, is there enough microtransactions? Is there enough subscriptions? Is there enough advertising? Anything Online was a great one for that. They actually like sold ads in game on like billboards to help with the cost. That was awesome. Annoying, but awesome. Because a whole bunch of them were like US military ads. So, but you can take a look at some of the games that have essentially been abandoned by their developers, but have a really good following to the point where there are private servers outside of the company. That is really weird. It just looks weird. That's a bit better. Still in the middle of setting up my office, trying to get everything ready. Um, my office is basically set up. But anyway, that's going on a tangent. Essentially, what it should be is when the developer is classifies the game as end of life. No more patches, no more support, no more. It's just eating up on their servers. They should put out a patch or something to keep the game going. A great example is Star Wars Galaxies. Star Wars Galaxies, if you don't know, Star Wars Galaxies was basically a Star Wars MMO. And it was great until they screwed it up. Essentially, what happened was it was like a tier based leveling system that was like you picked like your base class, and then there was like four. I think it was like a 4x4 grid. It was either 4x4 or 5x5 or 5x4. Anyway, but to master the top level of that, say you were a brawler, you would pick your class as a brawler, and then you'd go up all the inner tiers, and then at the top was the final tier sort of thing, where once you got enough experience, you had to go and find somebody that already had that skill, and essentially pay them for training. But to become a Jedi in it, because I mean, it's Star Wars, everyone wants to become a Jedi. You had to go and find holocrons, either Jedi holocrons or Sith holocrons. And essentially, they would say, to become a Jedi, you need to specialize, you need these skills. And it would be like, you would be like, I don't know, like a bounty hunter, rifleman spec sort of thing, and you'd get a holocron, and it would be like, to be a Jedi, you need to be a dancer. So you would essentially get rid of all your skills, pick up the dancer skill, or pick up one of them, because each one had like, it was like 2 tiers, went into like 1 tier sort of thing. I thought it was really great. But then you'd have to like level up all your experience in those skills to basically get up there. And then they brought out the combat update, and then they were just, because people were complaining it was too hard to become a Jedi, and then they were like, Jedi for everybody, and the game died. Essentially. I mean, there were other problems, but I think like the DLC for the Starfighters and that I think helped kill it as well. But I think the big thing that killed it, because it did have a pretty decent following up until the point of the combat update, in which they went from the tier system to just a leveling system, and you could just buy the game, log in, and become a Jedi. So, but there's a whole bunch of servers out there, basically pre combat update, that still have a decent following. And these people are basically just taking donations to keep the servers up and that sort of thing. So I think if you've got a majority online game or 100% online game, you should have the ability to download essentially a server pack and run your own server. You foot the cost for it. You foot the hardware for it. I mean, these days with like the amount of cloud companies and that, where you can basically rent a virtual server and that, the the options are there. They really are. The options really are there. But sometimes, like, I mean, we'll take the Crew for instance. The Crew 2 coming out, you don't really want private servers for the Crew. I think they should have handled it a bit better. I've never played the Crew, haven't really looked into the Crew. I'm mostly going off there what I've seen online, or heard online, that essentially they're shutting it down because of the Crew 2. That I can understand, because if the Crew 2 is going to be as good as like the Crew, then I can understand them not wanting private service. I can understand stuff like that. Like if there is a sequel coming out, you got to make money. It's the way life works. If you don't make money, then you're sort of like losing everything. But I do feel that if they're going to remove a game from Steam or something and just get rid of it completely, you should have the option to like download an install package, so that you can play it, either make it like a localized, instead of like being online, you could make it like a localized game, basically just bots everywhere but yourself. Maybe the option to allow, I don't know, peer-to-peer connections. So I do see it from both sides, but I also see it that you got to make money, essentially. So why I do believe that games should be preserved, I do believe that if you're going to stop selling a game, giving up the game, put out install packages so that people can still download it, and once it goes abandonware, just have an install package there so that people can like just do local instances. Don't get rid of it completely and just be like, nope, you put all this money into it, so here's a bag of dicks, eat them. So there are, as I said, there on both sides there are valid arguments. I mean, do I support it? I support it to a point. I don't support it to a point where there are some people on some boards essentially saying that, oh, they're losing money, too bad. We paid for it, they should keep it up. If it gets to the point where a game is no longer financially viable, as I said, I agree with shutting it down. But make sure that there is the ability for like private servers or something. Because otherwise you're losing faith. Well, people are going to lose faith in your abilities because it'll be like, oh, you're going to put out a new version? Oh, okay. Well, this $500 I spent on this, oh shit. Now you want me to spend $100 on the new game to get a tenth of the things I already had in the other one, but it's going to essentially be the same sort of game. So, as I said, this shit on both sides that needs to be dealt with better. And I think, as I said, I think the developers need to do a better job when they do shut down games. As I said, I play a lot of older games. I am lucky that a lot of the catalogs of the games I play are still available to purchase, even though they were made in like the late 80s, early 90s. But I mean, at the same time, the companies are basically bankrupt. So it's been folded over into a new company, and they're just like, oh yeah, well we're not patching or anything for it, so we'll just put this out and just update it so that it runs in DOSBox. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's been my thoughts on that. And my thoughts are basically, I support Stop Killing Games, but I also support the game industry because you cannot run a company with products that are not financially viable. And I think that's where it comes down to. When you're looking at the economy, you can't be losing money on one project whilst a new project being created is costing you money. But if you like what you see, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one.